Good morning and welcome to Mystical Teachings from the Tanya, Rabbi Brownie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zuch and Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Special day today. And we say good morning to Diane in London, Ontario, and in Mexico. Erica is with us from Norway, where Shabbos is coming very soon. Rena in Colorado, Boker Tov. Cindy in Florida, good morning. Andrea is in Phoenix, Arizona, welcome. And John in North Carolina. Art in Michigan, welcome. And Lara from Queens, New York, good morning. Rusty from Texas, good morning. Hannah from Budapest, where Shabbos is very soon. And Stan in London, England, where Shabbos is also very soon. Greetings and welcome. Freeman from Texas. Good there, Shabbos. Crystal, shalom. Robert, Boston, welcome. Scotty's with us from Tennessee, hello. Mika from the Philippines, welcome. Greg from Bakersfield, California, together with Paula, good morning. Denise and Linda in New York, welcome. And Rick in Crystal Lake, Illinois, welcome, thank you for joining. Alice is in Baltimore, and David is in Long Island. Sarah Malka, oh, welcome. As yes, we've learned many times together and many times finished. Thank you for joining. From Georgia, Elaine, Anita from Monroe, New York, and Betty is with us from New Mexico. All right. Okay, folks, today we conclude the 5 books of Tanya. We conclude after a great journey this past year. Many people had struggles this past year, 2020, but we have something that has aided the struggle, and that is the learning together every day of Tanya. And we come to a conclusion. But of course, all conclusions just means there's a new and bigger and better beginning just around the corner, God willing, as we start anew with greater increased understanding, greater increased passion and desire to engage, to learn, to teach, and to fulfill. So, let's get right into the end of Kuntres Achrein, the 9th essay. And this, it is very much practical and not so much philosophical, shall we say, as so many of the teachings are. And the Alter Rebbe begins with Teichiach, Teichiach es amisecha. You shall surely reprove your friend. And the sage, that's a verse in the Torah in Leviticus. And the sages add to that, afilu mea pamim, even 100 times. Meaning that if you need to say something over and over in order to make sure everybody is doing what they need to do, so be it. Therefore, the Alter Rebbe says, I can't contain myself and refrain from crying out yet again in a voice of pain. And the Alter Rebbe pleads, I plead out of deep compassion, that you should have pity on your souls. Be vigilant concerning the study of Torah, the service of the heart, which is prayer, with proper intent. So the Alter Rebbe, something we spoke about in the previous essay, says that a minyan, a quorum, you should daven in unison, word by word. Not that one person is holding here and another person's holding elsewhere. Some people are involved in idle chatter, God protect us, he says. This is the main cause, an instigator of damage of this is the one who's leading. The one who's leading the service. People want to snatch up the honor, but it should go to someone who is appropriate, meaning that a person who is, by consent of the majority, by someone who is going to pray word by word, an individual who is neither prolonging the prayer too much, but not racing through it either. So this leader of the service should assemble around him those who pray in an audible fashion, those that are praying word by word. So you sort of create this community around you of people who are, serious in their davening. This is what the Alter Rebbe says. And he says, I've come now to renew and strengthen and invigorate, that this shouldn't be weakened, this idea of praying in such a manner. And then the Alter Rebbe says in Yiddish, Gewalt, Gewalt, which is an outcry of pain. How long will this be an obstacle for us? Meaning that how long are we going to pray without proper intent? And the Alter Rebbe says, don't we have sufficient reproof and troubles that have overtaken us? May God protect and console us and redouble support and purify our hearts to serve him in truth. In other words, we need to strengthen and fortify our hearts so that, we shouldn't have any troubles. That's the first point that the Alter Rebbe makes. Second point is that there should be done the complete study of the entire Talmud every year. Now, this doesn't mean that we all should learn the entire Talmud. I mean, that'd be wonderful. But that's not what is necessary. What's necessary is that if you're in a community, everybody in the community should take a tractate and share the entire Talmud within a community. If you have many synagogues within a community, so each synagogue, they should, everybody choose a tractate, and then throughout the duration of the year, if you finish your tractate and everybody finishes their tractate, so in a sense what has happened is that you are collectively carrying and completing the entire Talmud. And it's an interesting idea that, when there's a burden that one person can't carry but two carry, then it's as if each and every single one of them carried it. We see that by the law of Shabbos. In any case, the study of the Talmud. In addition, also everybody should participate in reading the Psalm 119, which is the longest psalm. Happens to be this year the Rebbe's psalm that we say. And it should be done at least once a week. And in particular, that now it is, we're not capable of fasting to bring us to a higher level of tshuva, of penitence. We're not capable of it. Sorry. Then the next point is, since we're not capable of fasting today, in other words, to bring a cleansing to the soul, so what do? So we've learned previously in Geras HaTshuva that we give extra tzedakah, right, that brings a cleansing to the soul. But here he says the counsel of the sages is, in the Talmud it tells us that whoever observes Shabbos according to its law is forgiven all their sins. So it means according to the law, obviously, That means it's incumbent upon us that every individual should master the laws of Shabbos, as they are great. And by mastering in it, we will then be able to observe Shabbos properly. Be more careful. We won't indulge in idle chatter, as is known that everything has a inner and outer component to it. It has the internal and the external aspect. So the mitzvah of observing Shabbos, there is the external, which is the mitzvah of cessation from physical work, just as God, his cessation of physical creation. So we have a cessation of physical work. That's the external mitzvah of Shabbos. The internal dimension is that one's intention in Shabbos prayers and Torah study should be to cleave to God. That's the internal message. As it's written, that Shabbos Hashem Elokecha. It says Shabbos to the Lord your God. In other words, it's for the sake of God, to the sake of cleaving to God through prayer and Torah study. And with this, we understand also the commandment says, Zachor, remember Shabbos. So to remember Shabbos, the internal level of remembering Shabbos is this idea of remembering God and cleaving to God. And Shamor, and observe the Shabbos, is from the prohibitions, meaning refrain from speech that is about material affairs, just as God ceased from the 10 utterances of creating a mundane world. So likewise, we refrain from speaking the mundane things of the weekday. And of course, from the opposite, we understand the other side of it, that we should use the day to elevate ourselves in prayer and Torah study, and Farbrengens, of course. And with that, we conclude the entire 5 books of Tanya. Chazak, chazak. V'nis chazek, strong, strong, we will be strengthened. First of all, mazel tov to everybody in the completion. And in this completion, so we have Maisa B'Poyel. We have the deed that needs to be done. We need to pray appropriately, learn the revealed parts of Torah. We need to say Tehillim. Today the custom is that we say, as Tehillim is divided into 30 sections. Every day there's a different section. Today's the 18th of Kislev, so we read the 18th for the 18th day. And then, as the Alter Rebbe said, the laws of Shabbos also bring a cleansing, an atonement, a forgiving of all sins. So we need to keep Shabbos appropriately. What a perfect time! It's Erev Shabbos, so an important thing. So those are to bring, bottom line is, after all is said and done, after learning all of Tanya, it's interesting, the Alter Rebbe, it's probably the only essay, the only letter, the only teachings of the Alter Rebbe that is just pure action, pure doing, as opposed to even an understanding and an appreciation in the doing, a deeper understanding of it. I mean, there was a bit of an explanation about Shabbos, the internal, the external, but it is in a very practical manner, as opposed to philosophy behind it. And why is that? My thought, at least, on this is that bottom line is just do it, or just Jew it. Excuse the expression. Just do the Jewish thing. If you're Jewish, of course, just do the Jewish thing. If you're not Jewish, then just do the 7 Noachide laws. In other words, the bottom line is we live in a world, the world of Asiya, a physical world. So we need to endow the physical world with the presence of God through the actions that we do. So this is what the Alter Rebbe concludes. The Alter Rebbe concludes in this manner because ultimately that is the bottom line. Yes, we need to have a divine awareness. Yes, we need to have lishma, to do it for the sake of cleaving to God. Yes, we need to understand, God as creator and within creation. Seder ishtalshlus. Yes, we have to understand and appreciate the mystical dimension of the mitzvah, so we can have a greater engagement in the mitzvah, greater commitment, a greater enthusiasm to do the mitzvah. But the bottom line is, you got to do it. So that's quite telling that this is how we conclude. And again, I don't think there is any day that we had a teaching that it was just about instruction on what to do. Even we spoke about davening previously. It was, with some more philosophy, shall we say, behind it. Greg is asking, what are the 7 laws for non-Jews? Not to commit idolatry, not to blaspheme God, and not to murder, not to steal, not to commit laws of illicit relations, setting up courts of justice, and cruelty to animals. Cruelty to animals, which is taking the limb from a live animal is the basic idea. All right, any other? Thank you, everybody, for your wonderful comments. Much appreciated. Wishing everybody a good Erev Shabbos, a good Shabbos, wonderful day, and get ready for new beginnings. Increased fervor, increased commitment, not less because we've done it, been there, done that. That would be missing, really, the uniqueness of Tanya. The uniqueness of Tanya is that it doesn't get stale, it doesn't get old. It gets more invigorating with time, because truth, when we understand it and integrate it and start to live it, the more we live it, the more we want of it, and the more we see the depth of that truth, right? Not when it comes to something else, it's not that way. I saw that movie. I saw that thing. I read the book. Because there's truths in everything, but it's a mixed bag. This is pure, unadulterated, the truth from heaven as it is, down here on earth. And the Alter Rebbe shares it with us. How lucky we are. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. And thanking you all for really committing yourself the way you have, and that you continue that commitment is amazing. May we all be blessed to see the light in our lives and how it enhances and brings the ultimate redemption, the light of Mashiach now. Be well.